give these files to Craig so we can put them up on the website if you all want to research this stuff on your own, or you want to play with it at all. Anyway. Any questions on buttons?
So are you using this to like create buttons on the fly, or instead of storing the buttons? Or
I used it to create buttons that I use in my system. I create the button, I throw it into my images directory, I commit it with SVN, and that's an image. That's a button now that I have in my system. But I keep the script around that I used because I'm always adding new buttons. And you know, you ever go into GIMP and you create one button, and then you come back a month later and you want to create another button that's just like it, only different?
yeah.
It ends up being way different, right? Because you don't really know how you created it the first time.
Right. Are you saving the
Here,
script along with
yes,
it?
I saved the script.
Right.
So I've got the script, so I can the
Tweak
next
it.
time I do it, I just go in and I actually I have this very long script that has a bunch of these things commented out. You know, and I just add a new one at the bottom, create my new button that's just like one of the other buttons,
Yeah.
only not quite.
You
Seems
don't
like you
type
could use
0 to
functions.
Q55 and do PNM files?
I'm sorry? No. No, I don't do that. So yeah, I save the images. Once I've created them, I just use them. I'm not generating the buttons on the fly yet. These, like this thing I said, is an indicator that shows up for a patient. We have attributes in our system. You can put an attribute on a patient, and you can attach an indicator icon to that attribute, and the indicators show up in our patient central screen.
Okay.
And I want to give the user the ability to create their own images, and it would probably have some Imagemagick in the background. So they could
It
at
would
least,
run that, right?
so they could at least say what color they want the button or the indicator, what color they want the text, and what text they want.
Yeah.
And then behind the scenes, I would use Imagemagick to generate that indicator.
Sure.
So right now, they're going into Photoshop and creating buttons that look horrible.
Oh, yeah.
And you know, it's the same kind of thing. Next month, they'll go create another button that looks nothing like what we created the first time. You know, Photoshop and GIMP, that's the problem.
But the advantage with Photoshop is you can pay a lot of money for it.
Yes.
And keep paying for the updates.
Okay, so
Or you can pay $9 a month for it. $10
so that's
a month for
buttons.
it.
Right?
Let's see, we covered
They have the subscription
buttons.
version.
Oh, scan. Okay, let's do that. I do a lot of scanning of stuff in my system. Patient shows up at the front desk, and we need to scan their insurance card, their driver's license, and any written documentation they have. Health history form, or a list of medications, or whatever. So we scan things, and we use scanners. I actually have images of one. We have a page scanner that looks like that. No big deal, right? We got one of those sitting at every desk, at every check-in station. It scans front and back. You just slide a piece of paper in it, and it shoots it right out, and it scans both sides. And we also use a scanner that's like this. It's a little tiny scanner. You can stick your insurance card in and push the button, and it spits it out the back. And while you did it, it scanned it. That doesn't scan both sides, but there are some newer scanners that will scan both sides at the same time. Anyway, that's the kind of scanners we're using. A common problem we have, though, is they scan a sheet of paper. Let's say somebody brings a list of medications written down on it. They scan it. We're going to scan both sides of the page, all right? Which means we're going to end up with one side that looks just like that, right? Because the back side, there's nothing written on it.
Yeah.
All right? So I need to detect that. And the way you detect that is pretty simple. Imagemagick has a cool command. Let me show you. There's a cool command to just trim something. So I could take like, let's go back to this 800 PNG. I can take that and I can trim the white space around the edge real easily. I can shrink that thing down real easily. We can just say convert, let's see, input files 800 and PNG dash trim and my out file. See that? Figured out where the edge of that document was. Right, there's some non-white in there. Okay. But try that same command on my blank page. No, my blank page. And it comes up kind of weird, right?
It's a lot smaller.
It was folded.
You got the fold.
All right, no, there's a command called fold that we ran on it.
No, I'm saying there's some,
No,
probably some pixels.
it's this edge.
Oh, it's a raw edge.
Right, you almost always get that from a scanner. It could be, the edge of the paper might have been
Yeah.
crinkled a little bit, but even if it's not, you ever use a flatbed scanner and you scan something, you always get that little bit of crap around the edge,
Yeah.
right?
Mhm.
Dust on the glass or whatever. You
It
always
doesn't
end
go
up
in
with
straight.
Right,
Yeah.
right. So, figure this out. This example. This basically is the example of how to deal with that. Okay? Let's go into that.
Shave.
Yes.
Straightening, yeah.
There's a couple of things going on in here that I knew at one time and they're a little fuzzy yet. Basically, though, when you convert on your input file, you separate it into that turns it into a grayscale image. Now, all the documents that I deal with that I have to scan in, I just want black and white. I don't care about colors. When you start playing around with grayscale and thresholds and stuff, kiss your colors goodbye. Anyway, if you're just trying to do blank page detection, because I'm not really producing any output here other than information about the file, you can even do this on a color document. So anyway, I separated it to make it grayscale. Threshold 30%. What that means is any color that's within 30% of being white, make it white.
Well, that's cool.
Okay? And then you combine the grayscale layers back together again, I think. Then the shave. What we're going to do is trim 5% off all the way around the edge of the document, so that we lose the rough edges, right? The fuzz 10%,
Seems strange.
let's go back.
Maybe it's recognizing the fuzz.
I don't remember exactly what I looked up earlier today. Fuzz. Colors within this distance are considered equal. So I said
Oh.
10%.
Yeah.
See, then what was the other one that I did? Threshold 30% is a similar command. Threshold.
We had it, here it is.
Apply simultaneous black-white threshold to the image. Oh, what that does is it tries to take the image and look at that image and figure out, are you black or are you white? Every pixel on it. And it'll make all the black, anything that's in between, it'll pick whether it thinks it's black or it thinks it's white. Like if it sees gray on there, it's got a decision to make. And that 30%, I think, tells it lean towards the white. So I think you do all those things, and you end up with an image that's really just black or white. Just the pixels are either black or white, and that's it. And then you do a trim on it, so it'll trim out all the outline
Rough
of white,
edges. Yeah.
right? And then you have to repage it. I think that repage. Let's see, I actually have it down here. Change the size of the canvas to match the size of the image. Okay, that's important. You have an image and it sits on a canvas. All these trim and things, I think they just play with the image itself. They leave the canvas alone. When you do the repage, that makes
Regrows
the
it.
canvas equal. It doesn't grow the image, it shrinks the canvas
Okay.
to match the image. Okay? So, we do that, convert, blank page, dash separate, threshold, 30% dash combine dash shave, 5% by 5%. And that's just a geometry setting. We could, specify other things for the shave. Dash fuzz, 10% dash trim, plus repage. And then I'm using this built-in thing, just called info, which causes it to spit out information about the image. And that's what it spits out. This, I wasn't able to get rid of it. When I'm using this in production with an older version of Imagemagick, and I don't get this warning, it's just a little better. Okay. It spits out this information. The name of the file is blank page down here. It's a 1x1. An empty image is a 1x1. So all I have to do now is look for that 1x1 in my processing. If I have an image after it's gone through this process, if I have an image that's 1 pixel by 1 pixel, I can assume it's a blank page.
Sure.
So I can throw that page away.
Sure.
I don't need to store it in my database. There's no interesting information on it.
What's your script look like again?
Grep.
Okay.
Basically, if it spits out some output. Now, for some reason, this newer version of Imagemagick is giving me this warning about, I'll show you. Geometry does not contain image, blank image. It's like there is no image because I've shrunk it down to nothing. And I mean, yeah, obviously I can get rid of that warning by saying 2 greater than no. Basically, if I pipe this through grep, space, 1 times 1 space, right? If it spits something out, I have a 1x1 image. If it doesn't spit anything out, then I don't have a 1x1 image, which means I don't have a blank page. So that's how I detect blank pages. That's how I don't store blank pages in my